Welcome back to Trilogy's channel. Today we're talking about a really special piece and something that I would consider great value, especially considered to the now heavily inflated price of the 5711 Blue Dial. And that watch is, of course, the Patek Philippe 5980 in stainless steel. But before we get into that, my watch of the day is the Rolex Yacht-Master II Steel and Rose. This is a 2018 model which has the new Mercedes hands, it's called. That is because at the end of the hour hand, it looks like the Mercedes logo. The Steel and Rose Yacht 2 was first released in 2011, and this featured the blue hands, and this was updated in 2016, like all the Yacht-Master 2s, to feature the new Mercedes hands. Across the Yacht-Master 2 line, the models with new hands, such as this one, make a significant premium over the previous generation hands. This is because it looks nicer and it's the newer model and it's the one that is a lot more desirable, therefore it's worth the premium. This model is available today with box and papers for $18,500. So without further ado, let's get up to the roof and get on with the video about the 5980. So, the Patek Philippe 5980 in steel. It's a fantastic watch and it's got a lot of history to it. So let's start by talking about that. This watch was first released, the Nautilus model was first released in 1976, and it was designed by legendary watch designer Geráld Genta. It's one of the first truly luxury steel sports watches, alongside the AP Royal Oak, which was released 4 years prior in 1972. The Nautilus was an instant hit and was loved by horology fans globally. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the history of the Nautilus, check out my previous video in the pop-out banner now on the 5711, and it talks a bit more into the history of the Nautilus if you're interested in that. The 5980 is the pinnacle of the luxury steel sports watch in my opinion. It's a watch that just exudes class and subtlety. It's a watch for those who don't have to shout from the rooftops about the watch they have or how much they've spent on it. It's just a classic and well-designed timepiece with great complications from one of the best watchmakers ever to have existed. This really is the idea of stealth wealth, but it's such a heavy hitter globally. People who aren't watch people don't really know what this watch is, but watch people have massive respect and massive love for this watch, and that is one of the reasons I love it. So the 5980 is a chronograph. It was released in 2006 to celebrate 30 years of the Nautilus line production, when the Nautilus line was sort of reinvented and re-released back in 2006. But the 5980 is a chronograph unlike any other chronograph. The watch is keeps to the classic porthole sized case of the Nautilus, but there's a couple of pushes right on the ears up here which sort of fit so well into the case you almost don't notice them unless you're really looking at it. Traditionally, chronographs are made with 3 subdials like you see on the Daytona pictured now. This is sort of a standard across the industry, but Patek, being Patek, thought let's not do that, let's do something a bit different, bit classier. I think the way they've done it here with just the single but larger subdial for the minutes and hours, as well as the running second hand, is just really great. It's really sleek design, really crisp, and I think it really just shows off how well Patek Philippe can just design and create watches. I really like the way they've done the chronograph on the 5980, and I just think it's just classic brilliance from Patek. The dial has 5 hands, which sounds like a lot, but really the way they've done it, you hardly even notice. It's very, very cleverly designed. So you have the running minutes and hours hands, which are made in white gold and covered in luminescent coating, as well as the 9 battens that are around the dial. This shows you that these hands are paired together as well as the indexes. And then you have the other hands. It's really clever what they've done. So you have the second hand for the chronograph, and you have the 2 smaller hands on the chronograph subdial, which are all in stainless steel and all made in the same shape as a nice little nod to show you what you're looking at what point. The chrono hands are stainless steel and all feature the same distinct shape. I think it's a clever and subtle way of telling the hands apart and their uses. Let's talk about the dial. The dial on the Nautilus is something I really love, and the one on the 5980 is fantastic. It's a nod back to the original 3700 with that dark blue graduated dial faded to black as it goes down. The 5980 in steel, when it was in production, was available in 3 dial colours, white, black and blue. You can see the white and black on the screen now. Personally, I think the blue is my favourite, especially in weather like this. The blue just pops in the sun, and the graduated dial just changes colour. It just works really well. It's almost a shame they discontinued it because it's a fantastic piece to buy. The thing with this watch, as I mentioned, the Nautilus 5980, is it's just the complete idea and execution of stealth wealth. It is just beautifully done by Patek. It's a great watch with a fantastic movement, worth tons of money, but no one's really going to know. And I think it pairs well with any outfit, goes fantastic with a suit, it fits under the cuff, but you can also have it wearing out and looks great in the sun. This watch is thicker than the 5711 and the 5712, which for me, I think they're a bit too small. I prefer a bit of a chunkier watch on the wrist. You don't really get a lot of wrist presence with them, whereas you do with the 5980. Obviously it's thicker to accommodate the chrono, and that works really, really well in my opinion. That's why this is my all-time favourite Nautilus. It's a shame they don't make it in retail anymore. As I mentioned, it's discontinued. I mean, even if they did, it would be an impossible task to get one anyway, as we know of the Patek rating lists. In terms of investment, I think this watch is fantastic. About 8 years ago, before the whole Patek craze really took off, these were available for about 20k or thereabouts, back at a time when Daytonas were less than 10 grand. But now, today, this watch is up for 80 grand. That represents a 300% increase over the 8-year period. That is equal to a 37.5% year-on-year increase. Find me somewhere else another safe investment on the market where you can get 37.5% returns. Obviously, it's hard to predict what's going to happen, but it's just like any investment. No one really knows what the future is going to hold, but if I knew what I knew now, I would go back and just buy up all of these at the 20k region, and I'd be sitting on a fortune of 5980s. I still think this watch has further to go in terms of capital appreciation. Obviously, as I mentioned, it's discontinued. Patek will not be producing any more of this model, and demand is only growing for Nautiluses. The watch industry is just growing. People are getting more and more excited and spending more and more on different pieces. And I think the Nautilus, and especially the Nautilus Chrono, is going to be one of the winners of this race. There's a high likelihood that this watch will be over 100 grand in the years to come. Let me know your thoughts on the stunning Patek 5980 in the comments below, and where you think this fantastic investment piece is going to be in 5 years' time. If you like this video, please smash that like button. It really helps out the channel, and share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to keep up to date with our newest videos. Thank you.